Next project is this bedroom. So it is just a stark white room. The walls are in decent shape. There was like a patch job there. Looks like it might need some love in that corner. There's a little work that needs to be done around the window, prep work. But it has very high ceilings. And the interesting thing about this is Stephanie and I were debating a color scheme for this room, and we agreed on a light blue. But Stephanie wants to do a red and white striped upholstered headboard, and to go with it, wants to do the crown molding in like a red color, which I was not loving. And the funny part is we used ChatGPT to create a rendering, which I'll show here, and it looked pretty cool. So that's what we're gonna go with. So the first step obviously is I'm gonna pull the bed and all the little stuff out of the room. I may just push the armoire to the center of the room and start prepping the walls. So I went around, and as good as I thought these walls were, and they're much better than the other side of the house because these walls are new, I had to fill a lot of cracks. So you can see in the corners, I filled, there were cracks there. I filled where the curtain rods were hung up because we're going to do something different. So now I'm just letting everything dry. Some of the seams between the sheets, the joints between like the drywall or plasterboard were visible. So I cleaned those up. You can see a couple of spots. So I'm gonna let this all set up, and then we'll sand.
Work break? We taking a break? You get mad that I'm holding the phone and not petting you?
So here's the crown molding I bought. And because I'm going that scarlet red with it, I'm actually gonna put a coat of paint on them before I install it. Because with such a dark color like that, I'm thinking it's gonna take a couple coats to really cover. So I'd rather get a coat on while it's easy, accessible on the ground, put them up, then do the coat and do the cut-ins and all that fun stuff after it's caulked. So I got one coat of that red on the crown molding, and man, it's red. I hope Stephanie and ChatGPT are right. We'll see what it looks like. But I'm gonna let this dry, and then I'm gonna mount them caulk where needed, and then put a second coat when they're installed. But you can see that for the red to cover the white, it's streaky. So at least I got this base on pretty easily before they were installed. So I did a little cheating again, and I cut in the blue wall color before I'm mounting the crown molding. And I actually started putting up the molding on this side. So let me get it to focus. So that's kind of the look. And you can see where it's streaky because it only has one coat. So I'm gonna get it in all installed, and then I gotta caulk. You can see there's a little seam there. Do all the caulking, get the corners all nice and mitered and coped, and get that put in. And then paint. So I got the crown molding all up, and I caulked it. So that's where you see the white seams, especially in the corners. Cleaned them up. They're all caulked. Now I'm gonna let that all set up, and then I gotta run a bead of caulk along the base of it to get that gap there. And then we're ready for paint. So, quick project to go with the bedroom paint is in a upholstered headboard that we saw, kind of a couple designs. So I am going to make one. So I bought this piece of wood. It's 160 centimeters wide. So I just taped some pieces of paper. This is the midpoint right here, this little arrow. And I'm gonna make the design, the shape of the top of the headboard. Use the paper as a template to flip over and make sure this side matches. And that's the foam that I'm gonna use to add to the board, and then upholster with fabric around the whole thing. And hopefully it'll look decent. Thinking, come like this. Pull the fabric around these corners might be a little tough to not get a wrinkle, but we'll figure it out. So that's going to be the design. So I'm going to cut this paper out. Actually just going to use this side of it since it's so much smaller. So. Okay. Try to find scissors. it. Now I'm going to flip this and trace it onto this side. Like this. So I'm just going to take the jigsaw, electric jigsaw, and cut that out. And then sander and just clean that up. So I cut the piece of wood, sanded it a little. So it's all set. And then I took the piece of foam, traced the piece of wood on it, and just cut that out. So now I'm gonna mount this to that, probably with like a little bit of glue, and then it'll be time to upholster. So here we go. I have the foam mounted to the piece of wood, and then we're gonna get ready to wrap fabric around it. So here's the fabric. I cut a piece, trying to line it up, trying to center that little mark is the center of the headboard. So I'm gonna center one of the red stripes right on it. Make sure it's centered on both the top and the bottom. And then go to town with the stapler and see, you know, I want to get enough pull on it where it kind of rounds off the edge like that. And then the hard part is gonna be in these curves up here to not get a wrinkle. So I might have to like back cut it there a little bit. So we'll give it a whirl. Rock and roll. It is so far. I'll just put more staples in and apply pressure to kind of keep this so it's not scalloped looking. But we're getting there. Got plenty of staples left. So I'll just add a little bit of tension and pop the staple in. Just wrapped up doing some touch-ups on the crown molding and everything. So I am happy with how it came out. It's drying, so it'll even out. There's some sheen on it and a couple little spots. So I'm going to just clean up my mess now. I push the armoire back into its place. Put this back against the wall here, clean up the baseboard and everything. And then I'm gonna get the bed in here to get a height on the headboard. Okay, so I just put the bed in place to get a height because I'm going to actually mount the headboard to the wall. So I'm going to put the headboard on now just to get a height. So I just quickly threw some of the bedding on just to kind of get a feel for the look we're going for. So I got to put all my tools away. We're gonna probably change the furniture that's in this room, hang some stuff on the walls, maybe put some sconces on either side of the bed or nightstands, that sort of thing. But just wanted to kind of show the finished, at least my piece. And then as we do more of the decorating, I know Stephanie wants to find a curtain for her in here. I'm gonna actually install a new curtain rod momentarily. But that's it. Bedroom painting done.